Good morning, Geauga County, Lake County, northeastern Ohio, and every place else around the world. Because you can listen to us any place in the world. I proved that myself. I've traveled just to test that I could hear it from Puerto Rico, from Arizona. I don't know where I'm going to go next, but I got to verify that we can be heard every place in the world. If you'd like to call in this morning, you can call us at 440-946-9468. You can email us at voiceofgeauga@gmail.com. As always, you can plug into our Rumble channel, our Facebook channel, or our YouTube channel. Our Rumble channel tends to be the most active and alive. We get a lot of people on Rumble, and they're starting to show up now as we speak. But welcome. I have with me this morning Mr. Jonathan Broadbent and Mr. Timothy Lennon, former county commissioner. And
are you like that? Can you hear me now, guy from the cell phone commercial?
A lot like that. A lot like that.
Geauga. Can you hear me now?
I was on an airplane and actually streaming the program. I wasn't on that program, but I was streaming it, listening to it, and enjoying it as we were cruising across North America. But I would like to welcome the VFW as one of our sponsors this morning. VFW Chardon 6519 out of Chardon, Ohio. And I'm a member of that particular post, VFW. They are having pancake breakfast till the end of March. And so if you're in the area and you want some pancakes, check out their website, Chardon VFW, Chardon 6519. And they've got great food there, other nights of the week, and a whole bunch of stuff going on. You don't have to just be a veteran to go there and enjoy beer and talk to some of the veterans and appreciate them. In addition to that, on our live stream page and on the front page of our website, there is now a QR code. If you scan that QR code, you will be added to our newsletter list. And so we're going to be putting together a newsletter that will be an adjunct to the brand new newspaper that Voice of Geauga has just published in Geauga County. And so if you're from Lake County or other areas where you're not on our mailing list for the newspaper, I'll be posting a electronic version of that on the website, and you'll be able to see what's going on in Geauga County. And so we have a very special place to live, and we're proud of it, and we're going to be featuring some businesses and stuff coming up. We have a brand new brewery in Chesterland, Ohio, which we're going to be doing an interview and featuring that brewery here in the upcoming future. So with that said, good morning, Tim. Good morning, Jonathan. And there's a lot going on in Geauga County. We're pretty excited about all of that stuff. So.
Good morning. Good morning. Well, thank you guys for having me back again.
Hey, Tim, I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm going to step in just for a brief moment. Skip, can you please double check the stream to Rumble? I'm not seeing it. I want to make sure that we're live. Rumble in particular tends to be a very popular destination. If you are tuning in, remember, of course, you can stream this, voiceofgeauga.com or wintradio.com. And if you are trying to find us on Rumble, stay tuned. We're just making sure that that's running.
Well, I am seeing it, and so I don't know about others. So let me look here.
Okay.
It does show that it is streaming.
We'll work on that.
And I've seen it. So.
Sure. Yeah, no, this is exciting, and thanks for having me back again. And like I said the last time, this little idea of yours has really started to catch fire, this Voice of Geauga. I mean, I've had just a giant smile on my face all weekend. I received the first edition of the Voice of Geauga newspaper media company, and it was fantastic. I could not believe my eyes when I saw it. And you know, I've said this for years that to have not a competing voice, but an alternate voice, and maybe a different perspective coming in on some of the issues that go on in Geauga County. They tend to be, I think, a lot of times slanted or just omitting of a lot of important information. So again, I was just flabbergasted when I got this in the mail, and so surprised, and look so much forward to that thing continuing to grow. And you have a lot of great sponsors included in that paper, and I'm sure that'll grow over the next coming months. but yeah, there's, I think today, we have a lot of exciting topics to kind of touch on today. Some frustrating topics that I've just been reading, and also the Voice of Geauga, as well as the Geauga County Maple Leaf. I saw there was a couple articles in there that are very, very concerning with some of the stuff I see the county commissioners doing, raising taxes. We have two commissioners in very much favor of raising taxes in Geauga County. I just saw that.
Good
also, heavens. Just another big one. It looks like, in the timing, I find to be very suspect of a supposed union being formalized in Geauga County because of, I guess, perception of political candidates that may or may not even win, but they want to form unions to protect themselves from the future. I don't know, accountability, I guess. I don't, but so yeah, there's a lot to talk about. So I thought today we could kind of just bop around. And again, congratulations on the paper, though. I'm so excited to watch that thing grow.
Excellent. Thanks for the encouraging feedback.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I've been getting great feedback all weekend. Text messages, phone calls, images. The feedback to this Voice of Geauga paper has been extraordinary. So if you have feedback and comments, we keep them coming. We'd love to hear more feedback on this newspaper. It's an exciting launch. And remember, we're looking for more eyes on the street. If you are out there in Geauga County and witness things, if you see something, say something. That's what Voice of Geauga is here for. We're looking for more article submissions. We'll be working on putting another paper out early next month. So this will be a monthly publication, working on getting the news and information you can trust out. I've said a number of times on this radio show that I believe that the Maple Leaf and Chagrin Valley Times come up short. In my book, I would love to see them doing more actual investigative journalism, digging into the issues. And speaking of issues, Tim, you referenced the idea of unionizing. I want to put that in context for our listening audience, and that came up in Friday's Voice of Geauga radio show as well. There is a group within Geauga County called ADP that stands for Automatic Data Processing, not to be confused with the payroll company. They're like our IT department, and starting some time ago, there's been scrutiny of their spending. Their spending is through the roof. They've been hiring, paying overtime.
It's about tripled under this current auditor, Chuck Walder. It's tripled. Yeah.
Tripled. My gosh. And so we talk about the desire to raise taxes. When you triple the budget for a certain office, and I've done some comparisons. I've mentioned them on the show before and done some posting on it. Compared to average comparable-sized counties, it seems like Geauga is overspending. That's a concern that citizens have. In the middle of questioning this group, they show up wanting to unionize themselves.
Right before an election.
Right before an election, it does smack of impropriety, doesn't it?
And it looks as to, from what I've seen here in the letter that they had, whoever put together, I'm not sure. I would hope that there were no other elected officials imploring them to unionize. If this was truly organic or not, that remains to be seen. But the employees supposedly said that they're worried about the upcoming election. And so that's a reason to unionize, I guess. So, and then we have, support from the other conservative elected officials in this county, which I'm starting to find hard-pressed to find any conservative elected officials in Geauga County at this point. We've got Commissioner Brakey saying that it seems like a reasonable step for ADP to unionize, and we've got commissioners supporting this.
That's so awful. Tim, where's that quote coming from?
That's from the Geauga County Maple Leaf. Hopefully it's a misprint, but it says Commissioner Carolyn Brakey said unionization seems like a reasonable, foreseeable step for ADP employees.
For anybody who may not know this, Commissioner Brakey ran as a Republican. I want to be clear about that. So this is a woman who ran under the banner of the Republican Party, who's saying she wants to, raise taxes, and that this group that's now under the microscope and being scrutinized she's perfectly A-okay with them unionizing in order to, I mean, on its surface, it certainly looks to me like right on the heels of the public questioning, why are you spending so much of our tax dollars? Then suddenly they show up wanting to unionize. And this Commissioner Brakey is on board with that. As a Republican, that's a head scratcher.
Yeah, and I believe, you know, the other Commissioner Dvorak too. I don't see his quote in here, but it seems as though that they did take a vote to go ahead and start this process. And you know, it makes me wonder, why just stop at ADP? You know, if ADP employees are being worried about being held accountable and keeping these big salaries and all this spending and revenue going on, again, the budget from ADP from the last auditor to this current auditor has nearly tripled. It's gone from a little over $1 million to pushing $4 million. I mean, it's
good grief.
Yeah, and we've got maybe we had 3 or 4 employees. Now we've got, I don't even know how many employees are in there. That's
19
that's like
at last check.
That would be a good question or somebody to figure that out, because that seems like a moving target at least when I was there, how many employees. But anyway, why stop at ADP? Why don't we just, maybe Job and Family Services, maybe they're worried about a certain candidate getting elected, or maybe the courts are worried about a certain candidate getting elected. So why don't we just unionize the whole county and cost ourselves, again, millions of dollars more? This is, again, let's quit the BS and read between the lines. I think the public is smart enough to understand these are games being played right before an election. Let's just call it out. That's what this is.
There's another element that I think it makes sense to drill down on, and we're coming up on a break, so I'm going to leave it with this, and when we come back, we can seek an answer. But there's been a big push and still a lot of talk around Doge. And isn't this whole talk of unionizing anti-Doge, isn't it the opposite? We're going to come back with more on the other side of the break. Remember, you can join the conversation at 440-946-9468.
Mics are off.
Okay, so Skip, I've checked my phone and computer everywhere I look. I'm not seeing any sign of live on Voice of Geauga.
I just restarted it on Rumble. I removed the channel from Restream and reinserted it. I can see it. So, I mean, I'm in Rumble and I can see the channel. So, I'm not sure exactly why nobody else can. Check it now because I removed it and reset it.
Well, I can see the channel. The most current thing on Voice of Geauga is from 2 days ago, 83 views. That's Olowich, you and me. I'm refreshing now. I've tried going out and just closing Rumble and then reopening. And Facebook is live, and we've got a great comment from Susan Walsh I'd like to read on the air when we come back.
Yeah.
Let me reopen, and I'll do a search for Voice of Geauga.
Yeah, I'm not seeing comments on Facebook, so.
Are you seeing any comments on Rumble?
No. I mean, I'm not sure why Rumble is not, I mean, I can see it, so I'm not, and it says that it's streaming it.
But you have the control panel, so I think that's different.
No, I can see it on Rumble. I have a different computer, and I go to it just like I was a user, and it's...
Yeah, I think that the stream settings are off. It's not visible. It's not streaming.
I'll have to, I don't know what's going on with that. Like everything else in technology, sometimes things get messed up for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that where you get a lot of listeners on Rumble?
Yeah, we get a lot of people plugged into Rumble.
Shoot. But you can post it later, or is it live? That goes out live?
So,
it's going out live.
It typically goes out live. We can post it later.
I see. Yeah, there's so many topics to touch on. I think, real quick, we'll jump off of this and then maybe jump to. I'm really excited about some of the candidates that are running. And I think this is a good avenue for them to get their voice out. Not that we're endorsing anybody, but you know, it's great to have that. You got some good guests coming up.
30 seconds, 30 seconds.
All right, so if you're listening to this and like to comment, if you're not seeing Voice of Geauga on Rumble, feel free to toggle on over to the Facebook group. We do have great comment there, and can continue the usual Rumble conversation.
10 seconds, 10 seconds.
Welcome back to Voice of Geauga on WINT Radio, 101.5 FM, 1330 AM. You can also stream at voiceofgeauga.com or wintradio.com. This morning you've got host Skip Claypool, myself, Jonathan Broadbent, and returning guest and former commissioner, Tim Lennon. Welcome back, Tim. We are back from the break. Just know, everybody, we are working on the tech side behind the scenes. During the break, we're working on getting the Rumble chat up and running. Before we went to break, we were talking about the conspicuous timing of this push on the part of ADP. Remember, everybody, that's kind of like our tech department. A lot of people are questioning the need for that huge budget and the huge payroll and the huge number of employees and all of their overtime and those sorts of things. People are starting to question that, and then suddenly they are making moves to try to unionize. I asked the question, is that anti-Doge? Are they trying to insulate themselves from accountability? What do you think, Tim?
Well, I mean, this isn't something that just started last week. You know, I've been questioning this budget with our current auditor, Chuck Walter, for years and years. And just to be, you know, from my side of the table, you know, I believe he's misrepresented it to us over the years. I was on board early on in investing money into our technology. Nobody's saying we don't need technology in this county. But, you know, I've seen this thing completely explode over the years. And then it's almost as though they've set up some sort of additional revenue going out and with the townships and the police departments and fire departments and every agency across the county is somehow now involved under this umbrella of ADP. And you know, and that now they're charging these outside entities as well as you know, county agencies for doing work that, you know, has been budgeted for. I thought, at least that's what the hope, but it seems as though all the money being budgeted is really going to employees and salaries and everything else. So the revenue being spun off from this, where's that going? By law, it should be coming back to the general fund, where the county commissioners then turn to reallocate it. It should not be going to, which I've heard a couple times, they're getting overtime for directors going to township meetings and going out and about to different things throughout the county. That really, I think they've expanded their purview. Really, it's beyond what the realm of I think this thing was even meant to be. You know, it does not. We don't need to set up an enterprise within county government. You know, it's just gotten too big. You know, I think they have up to point, you know, maybe 21 or at least 21 employees sign this. They still have directors and higher ups who are making, you know, well over $100,000 each, plus benefits, plus vacations, plus. So I don't know what the gripe is about. It can't be pay that they're complaining about. That's not what I'm reading in the paper here. It's
right.
It's that they're worried about being held accountable. It looks like to me down the road, and keeping that big bloated budget in place is my opinion. And you know, that kind of leads in to, you know, it seems as though people, you know, it's not a big topic on the forefront, but I think going into this election, yeah, there's a commissioner, and they're trying to drop this whole thing at the foot of Ralph Spitaleri, one of the other commissioners, who has been critical of their budget over the years. I mean, they've made supplemental requests. Chuck Walters made supplemental requests for 20% salary increases when the county was giving out 3%. And we held that up for a year. We said, no, we're not giving you $1 million for salary increases. Well, he went out and did it anyway, basically writing a check that he couldn't cash. And so they've come up short. He's burned through that budget and it sounds like they did it again. They burned through their payroll this year or last year. And I mean, I think there needs to be a real accounting done on that. You know, it seems like it's a mystery behind the scenes. We never were clear how many employees truly they have and where all this money was going and the salaries behind it. So,
so there's a lot of mystery there around several things. I want to spend like 1 or 2 more minutes on this, and then I want to move on to candidates for local office. Because that's a really important topic. I know you're hot on the heels of that. You've got some really well-formed, good opinion I'd like to seek from you.
Sure.
But first of all, it's come to my attention that in order to pay the staff on ADP, there are different sources of revenue and different ways of paying them that may make it sort of obscure what they're actually getting paid. So when you're talking about some of the ADP employees being 6-figure, 100,000 plus, that may be from 1, 2, or 3 different sources that they're getting paid. And when you add them all together, maybe their annual income is 150,000 or 180,000.
Well, yeah, I don't know if it goes that high, but I know what you're saying is correct. There are, and just not to get into the weeds here too much on it, but there are 3 pots of money that the county auditor has authority over, and that is the auditor's budget, ADP budget now, and then also a thing called a REEF fund, which I won't get into, but it does have money in it, and the auditor has discretion as where that money can go. What he's done over the years, and I've seen this where he'll have, say, his director, Frank Antonucci, who's making well over $100,000. I mean, he's just one of many, many that are making over $100,000 in today's world, which we all know in the real world, $100,000 salary is not easy to come by in the real world, right? Especially with these kind of benefits and health care packages and everything else. But anyway, so what they'll do is they'll say, hey, we're going to pay Chuck will say, I'll pay the director, $70,000 for ADP director. So if you look at ADP on its face, well, which you can't do anymore because the budget's gone up almost 260% over the years, so you can't really, but you can look at the line, the salary list and say, well, they're only making $75,000. That seems in line with what, a high-end employee should be making, or a specialized employee, maybe 85, 95, but they're also getting paid, and the public is not aware of this because none of this is put out on Front Street, is they're making another $20,000 or $25,000 from the auditor's salary lines. And then also possibly, and this was something that we could never quite understand, how these big raises were going out when we did not supply the revenue on this supplemental request, how the auditor was still able to hand out, in some cases, for one of his deputies, a $35,000 salary increase, which, maybe it's needed, maybe it's justified, but it was never brought to a budget hearing. It was never brought to a commissioners meeting where they were requesting additional funding and an explanation, not to just the commissioners, but to the public. Like, what are you doing? What is going on?
If it's unclear and opaque, if it's hard to tell what people are getting paid, then that's absolutely the place where we, the people, need to be asking questions. And I applaud Commissioner Spitaleri for asking the questions. I was there for that meeting. It was tense, but what the heck? We're supposed to have tense meetings.
Ralph's done that a few times, and when I was there, we asked, very, honest questions. But that's the MO of the auditor. When you do press him or ask him, you said it got tense. Well, that's exactly what he does. If you ask him something that, if you were to ask me that question, I would hope to have a good answer for you and be proud of what my work is. But that's not the response you get from this current auditor, who has caused many and created many issues, which, I could give you probably a laundry list of different issues that have been created in this county and cost this county millions and millions of dollars in either lawsuits or just waste, that's flat out waste.
Frustrating. I'm actually going to use that to pivot our conversation to upcoming elections. I know that he now has a competitor in Joe DeBoff. Joe DeBoff is running to oppose him. And Joe DeBoth, I believe, is coming up on Skip. Is Joe joining us, what, Thursday? On Voice of Geauga?
Yes, Thursday. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Thursday, stay tuned on Thursday. A candidate, Joe DeBoth, running to oppose County Auditor Chuck Walder, will be joining us on Thursday. We're coming up on a break. Remember, everybody, you can join us at wintradio.com to stream this audio, or Voice of Geauga. Feel free to call in 440-946-9468, and you can also find us on social media to drop your questions. We have a great comment. I'll read quickly. We have moments here. Susan Walsh writes, "The paper looks great. Haven't started reading yet, but we'll let you know." That is terrific feedback. We see a lot of people who are sharing images of it because it's new and exciting. We can't wait to get the feedback and what you think of the great articles in there. We're going to come back with more on the other side of the break. Remember, 440-946-9468. We're going to continue our conversation with former County Commissioner Tim Lennon, talking about what's happening with budget and all things Geauga County on the other side of the break.
Mics are off, mics are off.
Jonathan, try Rumble now.
Not seeing it, but let me close Rumble, and I'm going to reopen and search, and I'll do both, just in case there's, every once in a while you get those strange things that happen, like there's something in the cache, stored memory on your computer or something. I'll also try on my phone. Actually, I don't end up using Rumble all that often on my phone. Let's see, Voice of Geauga. Let's see. No, you know, it's funny on Voice of Geauga. Here's the, okay, here's the channel. No thanks, I don't want to go premium. Now I'm seeing a video of Steve Olowich from last Friday.
He did a great job. I watched that. He really sounds good.
Yeah.
I'm really impressed by him. I mean, I was the one that hired him at Geauga County.
Well, good job, Tim.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I was floored when he showed up. Like, we were putting out all these resumes. I must have poured through, 20 resumes. And then I get his. And I'm like, what? I'm like, this isn't even, is somebody playing a joke on me? Like, that's what I thought.
Because of his qualifications?
Yeah, I was
That's
floored.
very qualified.
I was floored. I was like, what does this guy want to come work here for us for? You know? He is so good. I mean, I'll tell you, like, what he said is stuck in my mind. It's time, the status quo sums up Dvorak clear. It's such a good explanation. The status quo, you know. I mean, he is the status quo, you know.
Yeah, and that's not what we need right now.
No, and he's just subservient to these other elected officials, unfortunately. You know, so
the strange thing that for me represents a huge disconnect is the number of people that are very concerned about the direction our country is headed, the waste, fraud, and abuse, the overtaxation. For heaven's sakes, looking at the recent 30% tax increases on property tax, and all these people fighting property tax and everything. And in the face of that, you get people like 2 of our 3 current county commissioners who just seem to just shrug, like, well, just let them eat cake.
Like they're indifferent. Like they're flies on the wall. Like they have no say in the matter.
Yeah.
All right, Jonathan.
Of course they have say in the matter. That's why we put them there as representatives.
Jonathan, I discovered the problem. It's up and running now. So.
Oh, okay. Awesome. I will return with that announcement. Oh, there it is. I see it. Full deal. Yay.
Yeah, sorry. It apparently aged itself out. So Rumble must have this aging process where after a while, they want you to refresh everything. So I had to reset things. So.
And it looks like 1 John 654 is there. Good morning, John 654. sorry it took us a minute to reset things. Well, this is what you have. This is what you get when you get some people that are just concerned citizens and care enough to get out there and try and get in front of information and find answers. So, I don't know about Skip, but I do not claim to be
30 seconds, 30 seconds.
the ultimate tech professional, but we have Skip pouring his heart and soul into it and just pouring everything he's got into trying to make this the best possible thing
You guys
to
are
help
doing great.
Geauga. And myself
10
included.
seconds, 10 seconds.
Welcome back to Voice of Geauga with Skip Claypool, myself, Jonathan Broadbent, and returning guest Tim Lennon. I'm pleased to announce that the tech glitch that delayed us slightly on Rumble has been resolved. So Rumble audience, feel free to jump back over there. I see it happening already. The
Good.
Rumble audience is joining into the conversation. We have a great comment from, I think I already read that one. Susan Walsh says the paper looks great. We keep the questions and comments coming. We have comments from all around. Getting back to the upcoming, the candidates and upcoming elections.
Exciting.
What are your thoughts, Tim? What are you excited about?
I'll tell you, there's a lot going on here in Geauga County, and it's good to see that there's some challenge coming and some alternate and some choices to be made, and that people, I think, are starting to get engaged and starting to wake up a little bit in sleepy Geauga and pay attention to what our county government's been doing over the last few years. And it's been growing. It's been growing. Our revenue's growing, our head count's growing, our budgets are growing. So, I think people like, for example, we've got some great candidates challenging some incumbents, some entrenched incumbents, some politicians, I would call them, and they've been playing very political games lately. We've got Joe DeBoff, who's running for auditor, county auditor. He's a very seasoned background professional. He's very articulate, very smart guy, very calm, very open to criticism, very open to discussion. Also, we have a county commissioner who you just had on, a candidate for county commissioner, Republican candidate, Steve Olowich, who I think will make a fantastic addition to the board. It's sorely needed. The direction of this county commissioners, I am just, since I've left, I just have to say I'm just floored at the direction it's gone. And I thought, one of the big campaign slogans of Commissioner Brakey is bringing stability and being a mother for Geauga County. It's been anything but. There's been the employees. I get phone calls nonstop wanting me to come back and run and all this other stuff, which I have no intention of doing right now. But there's a lot of unhappy employees, and maybe this unionization thing, maybe the county commissioners employees should unionize while we're at it. Just get everybody to unionize, and we can all make 100,000+, and everyone will be happy, and they can't be fired or held accountable or anything like the real world.
With the exception of one thing, then the county will be broke.
Well, yeah, until that happens, yeah.
And so let me jump in. I got to make a real quick comment.
Yeah.
From a sponsor standpoint, we're still sponsored by Great Lakes Outdoor Supply out of Chesterland and Middlefield, Ohio. They're doing a fantastic job. We talk about them all the time, and we have personal experience with them. Great store. But we also now have the VFW, Chardon VFW, Post 6519, who is sponsoring now. And we could use more sponsors. If you like the paper that came out, if you like the program, and keep in mind, the paper is a newspaper, so we tend to be more center of the road and more newspaper-ish, news-ish, not so opinionated. This program tends to be a little bit more opinionated because this is a talk show and we got to keep it interesting. So it's two different venues, but if you like both, we need your help. We need support. We need writers. We're going to need sponsors. And so if you want to sponsor this program,
If I got a call yesterday from somebody interested, a big Geauga County business wanting to advertise in the paper. So
well, we need sponsors on the radio too. It costs
and the
us
radio.
by the hour to have this program on, and so we need sponsors to help fund this program so we can keep doing. But we are growing and expanding. So now we have the newspaper. There is a QR code if you're live streaming this page, and you can always, if you're driving and you can't live stream right now, go pick up one of the channels, Facebook, YouTube, or Rumble, and you'll see a QR code. If you scan that QR code, you'll be added to our newsletter list. So when we start producing the newsletter, which will be between the newspapers monthly, the newsletter will be more often, then you'll be added to our newsletter list and you'll be able to receive updates and information. And so it's pretty exciting where we're going. And anyway, I just wanted to jump in and make sure we had our sponsors recognized and so forth. So
and I just real quick too, another race that I'm interested in keeping an eye on is we have 3 candidates running for the Geauga County probate and juvenile court judge. I believe there's Abby King, Stephanie Anderson, and Kate Jacob are the 3 ladies that are throwing their name in to run for that. So that should be a good one too, and hopefully you'll get those candidates on to kind of discuss what their plans are.
Everybody is welcome, by the way. Any candidate out there, we don't care where you're coming from, is welcome to be on this program. And so that's an open invitation.
Candidates and current office holders.
Yeah,
so
right.
Do we have Abby King lined up?
Yes,
Friday.
Yes. Oh, good. She's great. And I've talked to her. Yep. And Stephanie Anderson, she's great too.
Yeah, all are welcome. If you are a candidate for this office, contact Skip. You can send an email to voiceofgeauga@gmail.com, and Skip will coordinate a date, and we will get you on this program. If you're a current office holder or running for office, get a hold of us, and we'll field some questions and get you on the air.
I know we're jumping around a little bit, and I think that's kind of fun to do, and I appreciate it. We didn't really have anything, one topic in mind to talk about today. It's just kind of just reading all these newspapers. I've got 3 newspapers to read now, which I love. Like I said, I was so happy to see this in my mailbox the other day. Not only is the Voice of Geauga, just going to the gas station pumps and sitting on a newsstand, but this is going to every single household in Geauga County. Is that correct?
Yes, every home in Geauga and business.
That's amazing. That's amazing. What is that, like 50,000, 40,000 households or
43,000 drops.
Wow,
places.
That's huge. I mean, I think that Maple Leaf has like 4,000, 3,000.
Yeah, Maple Leaf's got 4,000. Chagrin Valley Times has 2,500. And just for a matter of reference, the Plain Dealer has a circulation on Sundays of 37,000. Their total circulation is now 98,000. So we're half of the Plain Dealer's total circulation.
Amazing. So if you're thinking about it in advertising, this would be a great way to get into the households of Geauga County. And I would say, what a better bang for your buck. You know what I mean? I want to put an advertisement.
We're a steal from an advertising price standpoint.
Get it on the ground level.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I got feedback on exactly that all weekend. Got emails and phone calls asking about advertising. So
that's great.
We're out of the gate. It took a huge lift, and hats off again to Skip Claypool. Skip poured a tremendous amount of time and energy and effort into getting this thing prepared and out the door.
And really everybody that's contributed. I see.
Oh, absolutely.
And
huge contributions.
One thing I found super amazing and interesting was the article, the AI article. I don't know if you guys read that, but it was generated by AI and it's Geauga County. But anyway, just to summarize it real quickly, it couldn't be any more spot on. It's almost eerie how correct it is about, just some of the bureaucracy and entrenchment that's been going on with our current elected officials using the system to kind of protect themselves. As a covey of quail or a herd of deer. They put the kind of weak ones on the outside and the ones that want to protect themselves in the middle. And it's been something to watch, really. I mean, it does. When I first came in as a commissioner, it felt more like a team effort. Like, the sheriff, and this sheriff's been great. But everybody pulled together as a team. And yes, there was disagreements. If the prosecutor said, I don't agree with this or that, and then he would come to us and we would work it out, and then everyone would go on with their day. But now it seems as though there's a couple of these players now, and I can name names, or everyone I'm sure could probably figure it out, but what I've been talking about. But it just caused issue and created issues, accusations, issues, driving employees out of this county, filing complaint after complaint. It's almost like just drowned them with bureaucracy kind of stuff. And unfortunately, we don't have anyone in this county that's calling balls and strikes, standing up saying, no, we are not doing this. We're not going down this road. If you guys want to go argue, you can go argue somewhere else, but we're not wasting time and money and resources and embarrassing ourselves in front of everybody. But it seems as though we have, the upper echelon, elected officials that have no problem throwing caution to the wind, or our money up into the wind to go fight and argue and issue.
Tim, historically, that would have been part of the role of a local newspaper and journalists.
Yeah,
digging in and applying social pressure, making people aware of issues. And I've said it before, and I'll keep saying it. I'm so disappointed that we have the Geauga Maple Leaf and Chagrin Valley Times, and they seem to miss more than they catch.
Well, it's almost, I'll go a step further. At least one of the papers, and it starts with a C, it seems as though is so one-sided. Like when I was commissioner, they would hardly even come get my take on a story. I would just read something. I got to a point where I just use it as fire starter. I didn't even read it anymore. You know what I mean? It was, and it was ridiculous. And it would seem like these accusations, we'd wake up on a Monday morning or something, and, the auditors accusing commissioners of breaking the law, or, all kinds of every week it was something else with this auditor. And if you've seen, even going back to the whole Grendel thing, and, the fighting, the back and forth with, some of his employees and the court employees. I mean, this thing was so contrived and made up.
Tim, I need to step in right there.
Yeah.
We're unfortunately coming up on a break. Remember, you can join the conversation at 440-946-9468. We're going to come back with more on the other side of the break from former County Commissioner Tim Lennon.
Mics are off. Mics are off.
All right. I'm glad to see all the activity popping back into Rumble.
Good.
Just skimming through, these are great comments about the importance of commissioners. It looks like Nana Sherrill from Lake County talking about Commissioner Plechnik. I saw that. My comment there, unfortunately, when you have a county that has 3 commissioners, if 2 of the 3 are not good and they're not fighting for the people, you don't have anything because they're outvoted.
Yeah.
That's what I see a lot. When I go into Geauga County and I see things like Commissioner Spitaleri sit there, and he just had such grace in that meeting. It was like people were tense and lined up speaking for an hour and a half in opposition to ratifying that ridiculous amendment. Bylaws change, and
looking them in the eye,
and then taking the time to thank people for making the drive in on
and then you got the other 2, Brakey and Dvorak, staring at their phones, got their thumb up their nose. It was so disrespectful. I can't even. I mean, I'm just gonna say. I mean, Dvorak, I've noticed. I know. I worked with him, and he's not a bad guy, but he just doesn't do anything, other than try to help himself get reelected or whatever. But he just doesn't do much, But Brakey, I thought, was going to be, kind of a go-getter, kind of challenge the status quo, do this. She's been nothing but on board with all of this nonsense from the crack. And now, supporting unions, the taxes, all this other stuff. And then being so disrespectful and like the angst.
30 seconds.
Just disrespectful. Yeah.
Well, there's a comment here from One Concrete, and February 24th, 2026 Maple Leaf article. Anderson said she has never voted.
10 seconds, 10 seconds.
Welcome back to Voice of Geauga on WINT Radio with Skip Claypool, myself, Jonathan Broadbent, and with returning guest, former County Commissioner Tim Lennon. I have a housekeeping note here. When you do get the paper, make sure to get your hands on a copy of this hot new paper, Voice of Geauga, that has hit the countryside by landslide. There is, I want to give credit where it's due. On page 15, you'll find an article. You don't have to be hangry if you visit Pancake Town, USA. That article is missing attribution. That was actually Frank Cavanaugh.
Oh,
Guest.
cool.
Frank Cavanaugh has been a frequent guest on this. Frank, thank you for that article submission. That is greatly appreciated. But back to the conversation here, we've got some really interesting comments showing up in Rumble. Somebody asked the question, it was one concrete, and I wonder if Skip or Tim, if you want to chime in on this. One Concrete asks, on February 24th, 2026, Maple Leaf article, Anderson said she has never voted as a Democrat in Geauga County primary. How was she voting before moving to Geauga? She sounds quite similar to Breaky. So what's in question there is background in voting. So people, I think, are starting to pick up on the idea, the important notion that people in Geauga County tell you frequently that they're Republican, but sometimes don't really have a solid Republican background and get into office and then behave very much like Democrats. You have a comment on that, Tim?
Jonathan, yeah, I mean, listen, we've been witnessing this happening, not just in Geauga County, but across the state and across the nation for a while, especially in, deep red state, the county here. I mean, flat out Democrats had not a chance in the world, really. And the real election, just so everybody knows, is in the primary. So get out and vote. Get out and vote in the primary if you want to make some change. It isn't in the general in Geauga. It's in for local politics. It's in the primary. We've watched this, and unfortunately, we've had weak leadership in the party prior. Our prior party chair, invited in Democrats for years and years to challenge incumbent sitting conservative elected officials for over the years. And so we've watched the door. This isn't coming through the back door. They're not being discreet about it. This is full-blown, hey, I'm a Democrat. I've been a Democrat. I can't win as a Democrat, so I'm going to switch real easily, go from one side to the other side. But you don't change your stripes at 75 years old or whatever as a commissioner. You don't change your thinking. I don't know about Stephanie Anderson and what her voting record or prior voting record. It does seem that Commissioner Breaky, she loves the tout how conservative and this and that are. But it seems as though, coming from University Heights and bringing some of that out here, maybe there's something to that. I don't know. In her past voting record, I can't really speak to that either. I'm sure probably Skip has more information on that. But just look at the actions over the last year. I mean, all you got to do is look at what they've done. And we've got, right now, this week in the newspaper, we've got 2 commissioners supporting raising taxes, raising taxes in Geauga County, the bed tax, then, which is going to impact local businesses and it's and all kinds of ripple effects, not just the people getting taxed directly. It's people coming in for tourism and everything else, and all the businesses that depend on that. But then we've got 2 commissioners plus an auditor plus a bunch of other elected officials who say they're super conservative, inviting in unions to get set up so they can continue on keeping this huge bloated spending spree that's been going on for the last 5 years, ever since Chuck Walters started. We've watched that thing just triple. And now everyone has tried to stay within the lines and the boundaries, very conservative, 3% raises. And even that, year after year after year, I had a problem with. Just because the calendar year flipped, why do you get a raise? Because you got a year older? Is that why? Or are you doing something more for us? Are you doing more benefits? Or, and this paper says, or the letter says it's all because they're morale and they're worried about what a Commissioner Spitaleri said something mean about them at a meeting. So we're going to go ahead and get a union going. Is that what I'm hearing? I mean,
That
this
seems
is
ridiculous.
It's unbelievable.
Hey,
There are
we're
two
gonna be
things.
coming up on the end of the program, and I need to jump in and just make a quick comment about Stephanie.
Yeah.
I'm neutral on this at this point in time, but
Yeah.
I did have a conversation with Stephanie at the League of Women Voters completely ridiculous property tax event.
Oh,
and
don't even get me started on that.
And she swears that she's a conservative Republican and has always voted Republican. Somebody needs to do some homework on that, but I don't want to defend her necessarily, but also we have to be accurate on things that we're saying, and so we need to do a little homework on it. I can tell you in my campaign with Carolyn Brakey, she had voted once as a Republican in Geauga County. I don't know what her prior voting record was, but she didn't vote in primaries in Geauga County, but just before she decided to run for an election. And so her voting record was very sketchy. And by the way, she gave away, she was the lead dog and giving away our health department to Lake County. And I'm very concerned about those sorts of things, giving up our sovereignty. Now we see what's happening.
She's tried to shed responsibility for that pretty quickly.
Yeah. So anyway, I just want to jump in. I'm not trying to defend Stephanie. I'm just saying let's be accurate because we want to make sure we maintain our integrity in those programs.
I think Abby King, Stephanie. I've talked to them both. They seem very competent, both of them. I mean, obviously Abby King is in there doing the job as we speak. I've watched her in action. She is with all the controversy that this auditor is created with the juvenile court over there. They do a great job. I firsthand knowledge. I've watched the work they do over there, and the dedication from the employees. So if anyone should be unionizing, maybe it's those employees.
Well, let's not go too. Be careful what we talk about here. We don't really actually want any of that. I think, so Tim's being facetious there, but there's an important element to enter here, and that is we should be relying on our county Republican Party to do a good job of vetting. There are some of us within the county Republican Party who are pushing for just that, accountability and vetting. We'd like to think that the people that get into the Republican Party and run for office are actually truly Republican and represent something. If they get into office and then start misbehaving, it's up to us to clean things up and to uphold the brand of the Republican Party. There are some of us within who are pushing for that. And that, I think, leads to people, the absence of that leads to people asking these types of questions. And then people have to go out there and do their own homework because they've lost faith and trust in the Republican Party. And that's a bad place to be, but let's acknowledge and work on fixing it. So in the future, people can truly rely on the Republican Party. It's another important piece here. Tim, you were mentioning the former chair of the GOP in Geauga County opening the door to Democrats and helping them to run and get elected.
Challenging
sitting conservative office holders. That woman actually right now still maintains control of the Facebook page. I've brought it up before. I think a lot of people in Geauga County rely on the Republican Party to put out a message about who is good, who to vote for. And it is my expectation, based on past history, that this Facebook page, it's no longer in the control of the Republican Party. It's one individual who is no longer taking an ongoing role in the Republican Party, who is putting information out, and that influences voters. We need to be very aware of that. Yes. Currently.
No kidding.
That page is currently, we've tried and tried as a Republican Party.
Are they endorsing candidates?
I'm watching for that, and I hope not. But we have tried as a party to regain control of that Facebook page, and the former chair is unwilling to relinquish it. We need to be aware of that.
Jonathan, hopefully, I know you're coming up on a break, but hopefully you can get some of these candidates on the show here in the next coming month.
We're working on that. And unfortunately, that is the conclusion of our show. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We hope to see you back tomorrow.
Thank you, guys. I hope to see you again.
Bye, everyone.